Okay, so interpreting graphs, a couple of things you want to look at. When it's the y-intercept, the key words that you're going to see associated with this are starting point or initial value, either one of those. X-intercept, when you see those, x-intercept and they want you to describe it, if it's at the origin, then it's going to represent starting value. So if it is at the origin and it's increasing, then it's going to be, this will be your starting point, okay? But if it's a decreasing graph, so if it looks like this, if it's a decreasing, then the x will represent the end value. So over here, it would be the end. Okay, remember this is your x-intercept. So if it starts here at the origin, it's your starting. If it comes down and touches it here, then they want to call it your ending value. And then the slope, which is also called your rate of change, that is the measurement of change per unit. The key word here is per. And you will always have what is on the y-axis per the x-axis. It is always the change in y over the change in x for slope or rate. So you take the words in the y-axis and then per the x-axis. So, for example, is the graph increasing or decreasing? It is increasing. What is the y-intercept? Here is my y-intercept. My y-intercept is 2. So since it's in the y, it's 0, 2. What does the y-intercept mean? All right, so that means the starting value. I want to either use start or initial. The starting value or the starting price. Look at what you're talking about. I'm talking about the price of a cab ride. So the starting price for a cab fare is $2. So just to flag down a taxi and say, okay, I need to ride somewhere, you're going to have to pay him $2 just to go somewhere, even if it's just a block or something, at least $2. The x-intercept. So the x-intercept, I'm going to go look at the x. It's increasing, but it doesn't start at 0. In fact, it doesn't touch the x-axis. So I'm going to say none. If you put 0, you're implying it touches at 0, but it doesn't. So, and so that means that x-intercept doesn't have an expression. What is the slope? The slope is the unit, the change in the units. So I go from 2 to this number is between 4 and 6. 5 is between 4 and 6. So I went from 2 to 5. That's a change. You go 3, 4, 5. I went up 3 spaces. So I went, and it's increasing. Since it's increasing, it's positive. My rose up 3 units, and then I went over from 0 to 1. That's just 1 unit. So I went up 3 over 1. Every single time I go up 3. 5 plus 3 is 8 over 1. 8 plus 3 is 11, and then I went over 1. 11 plus 3 is 14 over 1. So every single time I'm going up 3 over 1. When I put that in the calculator, it reduces to 3. Now 3 is dollars. So it's, remember the y-axis comes first. So this is $3, and then I put my word per. And then what is my x-axis? My x-axis is miles. So it's $3 per mile. That's what you pay the taxi. You pay $2 to get a taxi, and then you have to pay $3 for every mile that you travel in the taxi. Okay, let's try another one. This is a decreasing line. The y-intercept is at 10. Since it's in the y, it would be 0, 10. What does it represent? 10 is the height of water in feet. So what does the y-intercept mean? That means it starts. And what starts? You can say the water starts at 10 feet. So maybe it's a tank, maybe it is a pool, but the water starts at 10 feet. What is the x-intercept? The x-intercept is 5. Now, since this is, and that would be 5, 0, since it's a decreasing line, that means this is my end value, okay? So the end value after five, and what does this represent? Hours. After 5 hours. Now, if that is 5, go over to the y-axis to see what that would be. That is 0 feet. So after 5 hours, there's no more water. There's no water left. So it has drained out of the pool, okay? What is the slope? So I've got to find the slope, I've got to find the change. I went from 10 to 8. So I went down, so it decreased, and since it's a decreasing, it's negative. So I went down, I went from 10 to 8, so I went down 2 units, and then I went over 1. So you went down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. Every single time it's down 2 over 1. When I simplify that, that is negative 2. So I go down, and since it's negative, and I'm talking about water, so I go down 2 feet. You have to use the label, and you can say the word per, or you can say the word each. I go down 2 feet each hour. Okay? Or you could say, you go down 2 feet per hour. You could say each or per, either one. Sarah wants to buy favors for a Halloween party. The function B equals 70 minus 250F represents her budget B left after F favors are purchased. So first of all, when you see equation, go ahead and write it down. Oops, 250F. Now I like to make sure that I understand what the problem is talking about. F, look up here, what does F represent? F is the favors. And remember, whatever is by the times is your independent. So since this is by the times, then favors is my independent. Okay? And what does B represent? B is her budget. Okay? The budget that's left. So that's how much, now budget is how much money you had to spend. So that's the money that is left. Okay? So when I'm going to graph this so I can put it on my calculator, find the 0 and describe its meaning in the context of the situation. Identify domain and range and describe their significance. You've got a hint right here. This is the table that they want to use. So we can use that to answer some of these questions. First of all, let's go to a graph, and we can graph that. So I'm going to go home, new document, you never want to save, and add graphs. Okay, it was 70 minus 2.50. Now I can't use X, and so instead of F, you use X. You have to use X. Then you hit enter. Now notice it didn't come up, but you can go to Control T and look at those values. 0 goes with 70. That is my starting value. So 0 goes with 70. Okay? So my budget, that means my starting budget is $70. I have $70 to spend. Okay? So let's see what we had next on our table. So scroll down, and there was a 5, and there was 10. Let's go down to the 10. All right, 10 is 45. So at 10 is 45. So when I buy 10 favors, okay, because 10 is in the F column, I have $45 left. So I have $45 left to either buy a cake or ice cream or whatever I need to buy. So 10 goes with 45. So 10 would go, 45 is right in the middle. All right? So let's keep going. Let's go down again. Okay, there's 20. So you got 20, 20. So that means when I buy 20 favors, then I have $20 left, maybe to buy things that I need, whether snacks or tablecloths or something like that. Now you have enough points to draw a line. So if I draw that line, oh, I'm gonna touch it wanted to know what the 0 is. Remember, 0 is another name for the x-intercept. I'm gonna touch somewhere right here. So let's see where I'm gonna touch on the axis. Keep going. And I'm going to touch, when is it going to get down to 0? How many favors can I get? 28. So this is 28 and 0. I can get 28 favors. So 28 favors, and that means that there's no money left. Okay? That means you spent all your money. I've spent all my budget. Okay? So you have nothing left. So 28 favors and you're done. Okay? Now you can graph this, Control T. If you want to see it, you can go to Menu, you can Zoom, and I want to zoom out so I can see it. And so you can scroll out and you can look for that graph. See, you can see it. So I need to go further. And there you go. So I can now hit Menu, and then 5, and then 1, Graph Trace, and then scroll down. And I can hit that x-axis. And it says 28, 0. That is my 0. And that means 28 favors and no money left. Okay? And the last one that we have, the question says, which of the following functions has a 0 at 3? Okay? Now, a 0 at 3 means I want the x-intercept. So you can graph these and see which one has an x-intercept at 3. So I'm going to graph 3x. So you can go to, I'm just going to reset since I zoomed. That's just the easiest thing to do. Never want to save. Okay, and I'm going to add graphs. 3x. Now, that does not, it goes through 0, 0. So that is definitely not it. Okay, now I'm going to do 1/2 x minus 1. So hit Tab, up arrow, delete that. Control divide, 1 over 2, arrow over. You got your x, and then it says minus 1. Hit Enter, and you go Menu, 5, 1. Some of you are really good at identifying your x-intercepts, and some of you struggle. You can always do this if you forget. Your x-intercept, your 0, is at 2, 0. Well, I want to be 3, so that does not match. This was 2, that was 0, so it doesn't match. This one, okay, so 2x minus y equals -3. This is letter C. I have to solve for y first. So first of all, I need to move 2x to the other side. That becomes a -2x. So you have -y equals -3 minus 2x. Now remember, you have to divide everything by -1. So that's going to be y equals 3 plus 2x. So on your graph, tab, up, then you have 2 plus 3x, and hit enter. Okay. Menu, 5, 1, and then I'm going to scroll over to the x. That does not match. Okay, so that one doesn't match. My last one, I have 2x minus 3y equals 6. So I'm going to move 2x to the other side. That's minus 2x. Remember, you got to get y by itself. And we did this in chapter 2. 6 minus 2x. Now I have to divide each thing by -3. So when you divide by -3, you get -2 plus 2/3 x. So -2 plus 2/3 x. So tab, up arrow, you can delete all that. Okay, we said -2, just to make sure, -2 plus 2/3. All right, and then so plus, and then you got your fraction, 2 over 3x. And then hit enter. Now hit menu 5, 1, and I'm going to scroll to the x-axis. And I scroll to the x-axis, the 0 is 3, 0, and that's what I wanted, so my answer is D.